Every single day you make literally hundreds of choices. I mean, everything from the coffee you grab in the morning to the show you binge watch at night. But have you ever really stopped and thought about the invisible forces that are kind of nudging you toward those decisions? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We are pulling back the curtain to show you the deep connection between your choices and the marketing strategies that are built all around them. No, seriously, take a second. Why did you buy that specific coffee? Was it just the closest place, the cheapest, maybe a friend told you it was amazing? Or, let's be honest, you just thought the logo on the cup looks cool. That one little seemingly simple decision, it's an absolute goldmine of information. And it's the perfect way for us to jump into this whole topic. So, to kick things off, we've got to look inward first. We need to understand ourselves. We're about to explore this really fascinating and, sometimes totally irrational world of why we buy the things we do. This is all about the art of human choice. At the heart of all this is a field called consumer behavior, and you can just think of it as the secret language of the marketing world. It's the official study of how we, as individuals and in groups, choose, buy, use, and even get rid of stuff. And it's not just about that moment you swipe your card. Nope, it's about the entire journey. And you should know, this is not some neat and tidy science with perfect formulas. Our behavior is wonderfully complex. It's super emotional. It's dynamic, meaning it can change based on our mood or even the time of day. It's really just a messy, fascinating mix of thinking and feeling and doing. Okay, so even though it's kind of messy, researchers have found that a lot of the time, we tend to follow a pretty predictable path. You can think of it like a mental roadmap that we use almost every time we decide to buy something important. And here is that roadmap. It all starts with recognizing a need. That moment you look at your phone and just think, this thing is painfully slow. So what do you do next? You start searching for information. You're diving into tech reviews. You're asking your friends for their opinions. Then you start evaluating the alternatives. The iPhone's cool ecosystem versus Android's flexibility. This camera versus that battery life. And finally, you make the purchase. But wait, it's not over. Afterwards comes the post-purchase behavior. Are you totally thrilled showing off that new phone to everyone? Or are you feeling that little sting of buyer's remorse? Okay, so if that's the path, what are the forces that are pushing and pulling you at every single step? What makes you lean one way instead of another? Well, it turns out there are all these different layers of influence at play. The biggest, broadest influence is your culture. These are those deep-seated values in society that you barely even notice are there. Think about it. In some cultures, the ultimate status symbol is a practical, reliable car for the family. In others, it's all about the flashy two-seater sports car that just screams success. Next, we zoom in a little closer to your social world. I mean, how many times has a recommendation from a friend or a family member completely swayed a decision for you? A lot, right? That's your social circle acting as this incredibly powerful marketing force, and they're not even trying. And then we get even more specific. We get to you. Your age, what you do for a living, your financial situation, all of these personal factors create this unique lens that you see every single purchase through. A college student and a CEO are going to look at the very same car in very, very different ways. And finally, we get right to the very core, your own mind. This is all about what really motivates you. Why do you only buy one specific brand of running shoes? Let's be real, it's probably not just about the tech specs. It's the belief that wearing them connects you to a whole community of athletes. It's that feeling you get. That internal engine is what marketers are absolutely desperate to understand. And that brings us to this quote, which is honestly the perfect pivot for our whole conversation. Everything we've just talked about, that complex, messy human process, that's the science. It's the raw data. So now we're going to flip the coin and see how businesses take all that science and use it to create the art of marketing. All right, welcome to the Marketer's Playbook. This is where companies switch from defense to offense. They go from just watching our behavior to actively trying to shape it. And they use these really powerful frameworks to find and connect with people just like you. And the cornerstone of that playbook is something called the STP model. It stands for segmentation, targeting, and positioning. The big idea here is so powerful because it's so simple. You cannot be everything to everyone. The goal isn't just to be liked by a lot of people, it's to be loved by a specific group of people. Find your audience and win them over completely. So here's how it works. First, segmentation. You take the huge, entire market and you slice it up into smaller, more meaningful groups. Then comes targeting. You look at all those groups and you strategically decide, okay, which one are we best equipped to serve? And finally, positioning. This is where you craft your entire message so that your chosen group sees your product as the only real solution for them. So let's dive a little deeper into that first step, because it's so important. Segmentation isn't just about dividing people up randomly. It's about the art of finding groups that share real, meaningful characteristics. And this is how they do it. They can group people by geography, selling snow tires in chilly climates, not sunny ones. They use demographics, things like age or income. Then there's psychographics, which gets deeper. This is about targeting people who value things like sustainability, no matter how old they are. And finally, behavioral, which is all about what you actually do. Think about how Netflix just knows what show to recommend to you next. That's your viewing history at work. So a company has sliced up the market and targeted the perfect group. But now what? In a marketplace that is just screaming for our attention, how do they actually win? They need one last decisive play to make their product stand out. And that play is called product differentiation. It's the art of making your product stand out from the crowd. And it's not just about being different for the sake of it. It's about being different in a way that your target audience truly cares about. This could be through amazing features like Dyson's vacuum tech, or legendary customer service like Zappos, or an iconic design like pretty much everything Apple makes. And you have to see how these two ideas work together. Market segmentation is all about the consumer. It's about finding the right crowd. Product differentiation is all about the product. It's about designing the perfect item to win over that crowd. You really can't have one without the other. First, you find your people, then you make your product shine just for them. And this brings us completely full circle. See, this isn't a one-way street where companies just tell us what to want. It's a constant back-and-forth conversation. Our behaviors, our needs, our weird little quirks, all that science we talked about earlier, that creates the data that shapes their marketing strategies. And in turn, the products they create and the stories they tell become a part of our world, shaping our very next choice. So I'll leave you with this final thought. The next time you're walking down a grocery store aisle or just mindlessly scrolling through ads on your phone, remember this playbook. Look at a product and ask yourself, okay, who is this really for? And what makes it different? Now that you know the plays, I promise you're going to start seeing them absolutely everywhere.